Ideal client versus ideal audience. Now, in your business, you might have an ideal client or an ideal audience or a combination of the two. So, what's an ideal client? What's an ideal audience? Let me run through it. An ideal client is the person who's going to make the decision. They are the person who's going to buy the service, pay for the service. They're not necessarily the one who's going to use the service because somebody in their team may use your service. But they're going to buy the service, they're going to make the decision, they're going to pay for it, usually. Your ideal audience might be the person who introduces you there. So let's say you sell business to corporate and you're selling into a corporate space and you need to get in front of project managers. You need to get in front of communications people. You need to get in front of finance managers. They might not be making the final decision. Now, does this really matter? In a small business, no. Your ideal client is probably your ideal audience. Don't need to complicate it. But in some cases, you need to be on LinkedIn, for example, talking to people who are not going to make the decision. They're the people who are going to introduce you to the person who's going to make the decision. And if you start to think that you have an audience on social media, in your content, in a room, at a fair when you're doing a fair or you're advertising somewhere, in every space that you are doing any sort of marketing or talking to people, you have an audience that may not be your ideal client. They could be your ideal client, but it's a slight shift in how you think. If you start to think, okay, this is the message and this is how I'm putting it out and this is the audience it's getting in front of, this is the audience I'm trying to target to get in front of the ideal client. If they're the same, it's easy because you just, whatever you are saying gets in front of the ideal client. But a lot of the times you're talking to people who aren't your ideal client. So for the tax advisor, for example, you might be trying to position yourself as an expert for lawyers, for accountants, for other professional people like that who will introduce you to their clients. That's the difference between audience and client. So think about it in the context of your business. Do you have an ideal audience or an ideal client, or is it the same and this doesn't really matter? But if it's different, then how you position yourself and the language you use is different. If you are talking directly to an ideal audience, you need to understand that so that you can help them sell your services. You can help them have the information to make a decision to put you in front of somebody. That's not the same thing as making a decision to buy your services. So hopefully that makes sense. If it does, like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you in the next video.